Allow me to teach you a constitutional secret that even the best constitutional lawyers don't know. If you find value in this content, kindly consider rewarding me with only three things. One, consider rewarding me with a follow, a subscription. Two, consider rewarding me with a share. Three, consider rewarding me with engagement. Let's interact in the comment section. It will really help us with the algorithm. If you have watched Game of Thrones, the series, whenever a king would make an entry, usually that entry is preceded by certain pronouncement. Usually it goes something like this. Hail ye, King Ogwang Oongo Omuga. First of his name, Wodoongo Nyakwarogwang, Okeukochia Jakanyada, or something of that nature. A name is something that has tremendous constitutional importance. It's very important that we start looking at names more than merely nominal entities. Whenever President Ruto makes certain substantive pronouncement, President Ruto will go, I, William Samoei Ruto, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Kenya Defence Forces, under article such provision, when it's statutory, will say under clause such, section such and such of this act, or if it's a constitutional provision, pronouncement, he will always invoke the constitutional provision. Names are important in a constitutional dispensation. Whether that constitutional dispensation is reduced to a document or is embodied by an individual. In England, the king becomes the embodiment of that constitution. Whatever the king says becomes a constitution. It's very important that we realize that. So why is a name important? A name is indicative of three important things. One, a name is indicative of your personality, your character. Two, a name is indicative of your power. And three, a name is indicative of your authority. Most of us think that power and authority are one and the same. Power is different from an authority. This is what power is. Power is the ability in an individual to do or cause certain things to be done. That is power. Authority is the position you need to assume in order for you to access that power. So presidential powers are different from presidential authority. You must assume that office. You must embody that office. I am huge on regular constitutional updates. So I read the Constitution on a regular basis. There is this day I was actually going through Article 53.1, which sparked all this curiosity. Article 53.1 says that every child has the right to a name and a nationality at birth. So I was like, wait a minute. Might the Constitution be alluding to something that has evaded our grasp for a while? So I read that with Article 22, 2A, enforcement of bills of right, the Bill of Rights. And it says, a person acting on behalf of another who cannot act in their own name. So I asked myself a question. Might there be certain names that have constitutional acknowledgements and certain names that don't have constitutional acknowledgement? Whenever you're looking at the Constitution, it's very important to observe that the Constitution will only acknowledge the things that the Constitution has created. The things the Constitution has not created are inconsistent to that Constitution. So it's important for us to realize that when the Constitution is speaking of names, chances are it's not your nominal status. It is not your baptismal name, because your baptismal names are not recognized, are not provided for in the Constitution. So that is what I wanted us to talk about. Might there be certain names that are not recognized? They don't have constitutional recognition. There are three important names that are provided for. There are very many others, but just for the sake of this subject matter, allow me just to mention three names in the Constitution that are provided for. And whenever you do anything in this name, then you get the constitutional backing. One, Article 12 of the 2010 Constitution of the People's Republic of Kenya provides for a citizen. A citizen is more than a status. A citizen is a constitutional name because a citizen has certain constitutional powers, has certain constitutional authorities, and it has certain constitutional personalities. So a citizen is not mere status. Article 12 provides for a citizen. A citizen under the law is more than a status, like I've said, because a citizen is a cluster of three things. A citizen is right, a citizen is a privilege, a citizen is a benefit. So whenever you are approaching institutions of that the Constitution has created and you are approaching it under the name of a citizen, I am acting on this on the basis of a citizen. I'm not acting on this on the basis of Gen Z. You know, the point of departure is we are coming at you as Gen Z. That is the point of departure. We need to come at you in the name of a citizen. Why? A citizen is a constitutionally provided for, and the Constitution recognizes the right of a citizen. Let me shock you. The Constitution has no provision for the right of Gen Z. The Gen Z only hide themselves under the name of a citizen. Then you get the constitutional recognition. That is important, that a citizen is a cluster of three things. Whenever you want to assume the name citizen, then you must have this awareness. What right am I coming under? What privilege am I coming under? And what duty am I coming under? It's important to observe that when it comes to a citizen, under constitutional provision, there are no freedoms. I hope you recognize that. When you look at the Constitution, you do not infer onto the Constitution what the Constitution has not provided for. When you look at Article 12, the Constitution says it's a cluster of three things: rights, privileges, and benefits. 12(1)(a) says that a citizen is a person to whom the state owes duty. So that is Article 12(2)(1)(b). A citizen is a person to whom the state owes certain duty. So that is one. Whenever you're making certain things in the territory of Kenya, you need to ask yourself, under what name do I move? It's important to understand Ogwang Omuga is not a sufficient name under the Constitution. Under the Constitution, the name that precedes Ogwang Omuga is the citizen. And when I touch on that, or when I invoke on that, then the assets and the infrastructure within that name kick in on my behalf. So that is the first one. The second name is the people. The people is a name under the Constitution. The people is a name that is provided for under the Constitution. And it says in Article 1(1), provides for two important things: the people and sovereignty. It's important to recognize that when we are talking of citizenship, citizenship is minimalized. When you look at Article 12(1), it says, and the people will do their rights, their privileges and benefits, and they are limited to this Constitution. But when you look at Article 1(1), there is no limitation. So there are things that you can do as a Kenyan in your capacity as a citizen, then those things are tantamount. They are subject to certain constitutional limitations. But when you move under the people, the name of the people, then that name has no limitation. Why? Because that name has sovereignty attached to it. In criminal matters, when the state wants to sue or to bring a charge against an individual, it is always in the name of the people. We, the people, have settled. We, the people, wish to rest. We, the people, wish to call on this witness. We, the people, wish to do this. We, the people. So that one is always done in the name of the people. And it is very hard to limit it. Why? Article 1 says that the people in that state are sovereign. When a people act as a citizen, then they are subject to limitations under the constitution. But when a people act under the Article 1 of moving in the name of the people, from today, I would want to challenge you that whenever you move a thing, move in the name of the people. You might be one, but when you assume Article 1, you are moving in the name of the people. Mr. Ogwang, in the name of the people, I wish to do such and such. So that is one. Two, whenever we do elections, they always say the people have spoken. Why? Because the people in their sovereign state can do certain things. And whatever the people in their sovereign state have done cannot be limited by the constitution. The third one is whenever we are looking at referenda, we always say that the people have spoken. When you look at the Brexit scenario, the prime minister had to resign. Why? Because the people had spoken. They didn't want to be part of the European Union. So that is Brexit. The people have spoken. It's important whenever you're acting or whenever you cause certain activities, when you want to insulate yourself under Article 1 when you move in the capacity of the people. The last one, and there are numerous names in the Constitution. I would actually challenge you that in our engagement in the comment section, just kindly identify for me the names that you might have observed. This article provides for this name. This article provides for this name. This article, did you know that even an accused is actually a name? So the accused is provided for under the Constitution, and the Constitution says these are the rights of the accused. These are the rights of such and such. So let's engage in the comment section and tell me any other name that you think. Please don't mention the accused. Just mention another name. The third one is what it's called Article 46 of the Kenyan Constitution provides for consumer rights. The Constitution has provided for consumers. In the marketplace, there are three clusters of consumption. You're either a customer, you're a client, or you're a consumer. In the state of the Kenyan Constitution, we have elevated consumer above any other thing. A consumer is the highest form of commercial transaction in this territory. So when you move certain things, you move them in the right of a consumer. On whose name do you appear? I appear in the name of a consumer. Why? The Constitution has provided for that name. I appear in the name of the consumer, and under this constitutional provision, I act in the interest of unfair competition. Under the interest of this provision of the Constitution, I act for reasonable goods or services of reasonable quality. I'm acting in the name of such and such. It's important that when you want the Constitution to insulate you, when you want the Constitution to protect you, then you need to approach the Constitution in certain names. It's one of those things that have evaded us, particularly when people are doing protest. One of the missing links in protest is we come under fictitious names that don't exist. We come under this and this. Those names are not protected for under the Constitution. The Constitution protects certain names, and you need to understand what are the limitations of this name that I'm going through. What is the limitation of this name that I'm standing on? It is safer to stand under Article 1. Anything that you will be doing from today is to do it in the name of the people. On whose right are you bringing this? On whose interest? I'm bringing this in the interest of the people, because the people are sovereign. Did you know that sovereignty is also a name? There are things that you need to act on in your sovereign state. My name is Ogwang. I'm the principal at Franchise and Licensing Institute. If you found this value, please kindly consider rewarding me with those 3 things that we said. I will see you in the next one. Until then, take care. God bless and bye-bye.